A group of researchers led by Professor Lovegrow arrives on the Hawaiian island. They disembark from the helicopter and go into the wild jungle, promising the pilot to return soon. The professor leads the group to the waterfall and asks his assistant to keep the gun ready. Here researchers discover a nest with strange eggs. The professor's assistant takes out a camera and films Lovegrow, who takes one egg and puts it in a container. Suddenly, a loud splash is heard in the lake. The assistant moves the camera towards the lake and manages to shoot a huge snake that has surfaced. The snake immediately pounces on the man with the gun and swallows him. The operator throws the camera and tries to run away, but the snake overtakes her too. Hearing screams, the pilot decides to take off, not waiting for the researchers. However, a giant snake prevents him from leaving. It attacks the helicopter, which crashes and explodes. Only Lovegrow manages to survive. A young girl walks in the same jungle. She is talking on the phone, when suddenly the bushes next to her begin to move. From there comes a man with a cleaver and in a terrible mask. The girl runs away from him with all her might, but the stalker does not give up. As soon as she hides in the bushes, a terrible man screams behind her. It turns out that what was happening was the shooting of a low-budget film. A director named Milo is unhappy with the scene but has no intention of reshooting it as the sun is setting and they still have to get to the hotel. An assistant director named Rose gives an actress named Kimmy a schedule for tomorrow. Kimmy behaves like a superstar and is unhappy with her schedule. As soon as she leaves, the actor who played the stalker approaches Rose. He takes off his mask and reveals himself to be a pretty guy named Jack. The guy asks Rose on a date. The girl is pleased with his attention and she agrees. The film crew collects equipment. The operator's assistant goes into the forest to pick up the filming attribute. The girl is about to go back, but then a huge snake crawls out from behind the trees. It spits mucus. The girl runs screaming into the bamboo thickets, but the snake overtakes her and bites off her leg. The wounded girl tries to crawl away, but the snake swallows her whole. Unaware of these horrors, the film crew returns to the hotel. Rose and Jack are sitting at a table, chatting and drinking beer. Along the way, Rose chooses a location for shooting and accidentally finds an article about a resurrected mythical monster in the local jungle. Kimmy steps out into the hotel courtyard. She insistently asks Jack to put sunblock on her. Jack reluctantly agrees and promises Rose to be back in a minute. Rose indignantly watches what is happening and delves into reading the article. While Jack is putting lotion on Kimmy, a man named Rick on a nearby couch recognizes the actress. He reviewed all the films with her and really wants to get a picture with her. Kimmy forces Jack to take pictures with her, but the guy can't stand it and goes back to Rose. The girl takes the laptop and prepares to leave, jealous of Jack and Kimmy. Rick can't keep her. Another man is sitting in the courtyard of the hotel. He carefully observes the members of the film crew and informs someone on the phone that everyone is assembled and tomorrow we can start. Meanwhile, Professor Lovegrow wanders around the island and finds an abandoned factory. He is trying to find people here and ask for help, but instead, a determined woman with a machine gun approaches him. She leads the professor to a gang of armed men. He is taken prisoner. Lovegrow says that now is not the time for kidnapping games, because a huge dangerous creature has appeared in the jungle, so people need to get off the island. But the leader of the gang does not believe the professor. He is only interested in the money that the Lovegrow family will pay for the ransom. The professor offers all the cash he has, but it's not enough for the bandits. The professor is taken to the basement of the factory. The next morning, the film crew heads out into the jungle again. Jack, Rose and Kimmy are in the same car. Jack asks Rose for forgiveness for what happened yesterday. Rose says that this was their first and last date, but Jack explains that Kimmy is not his type. She's just bored and needs someone's attention. Jack asks Rose for another chance. She is ready to forgive the guy. Due to Kimmy's long prep, the trio are 40 minutes late for the shoot. Milo loses his temper, but Rose manages to calm him down. Only now does the director notice that the camera assistant is missing. Filming begins. Kimmy is paired with an actress named Rachel, but Rachel can't act. At the sight of a maniac, she only manages to moo instead of a frightened scream. Milo asks Rachel to rehearse some more. Milo then leaves to talk on the phone while Rachel walks through the jungle rehearsing the scream. On the river bank, she suddenly notices a snake and finally screams like Milo asked. Rachel tries to escape, but her way is blocked by a second snake, even larger than the previous one. They both eat the girl. Hearing Rachel's screams, Milo continues on the phone as he believes the girl is rehearsing the scene. Jack chats with his friend, a pyrotechnician named Gunner. The guy tells Jack about his explosives. He has capsules that can explode if just thrown on the ground. Milo ends the call and informs the crew that one of the investors has dropped out of production. Now the studio is halting the shooting of the film, but everyone will still get paid. People get nervous and go back to the hotel. At the hotel pool, Rick's girlfriend Jamie makes a scene over his reaction to Kimmy yesterday. Rick is ready to fix everything. He has found a piece of paradise in an uninhabited part of the island and invites Jamie to visit it. The girl agrees and forgives Rick. The film crew travels from the jungle to the hotel. Suddenly they notice a car in the middle of the road, blocking their way, and the driver next to it. Jack, Milo and Gunnar go to the rescue, but the driver suddenly points a gun at them. Rose and Kimmy go out to see what happened and are targeted as well. Milo asks the bandits not to push Kimmy, for which he receives a bullet in the leg. A thug named Arturo demands that the film studio that the film crew works for pays a large ransom for their employees. At this time, Gunnar quietly takes out explosive capsules from his pocket. He drops the capsules on the ground. During the explosion, Jack and Gunnar run away into the jungle. Two armed bandits are chasing them. Soon the friends decide to split up. Gunnar grabs a stick and hits the bandit on the head. Jack dives into the river and his pursuer shoots into the water. Then a snake crawls up to him and swallows him completely. Jack catches a glimpse of what happened and runs on. One of the pursuers returns to Arturo with a camera he found by the waterfall. He did not manage to catch up with the two that ran away. Arturo puts the hostages in a car and invites Kimmy to pretend to be the heroine of a low-budget action movie. Arturo then reviews the footage on the camera. He sees Professor Lovegrow with an egg, as well as a huge snake emerging from the lake. This shocks Arturo. Bandits and hostages arrive at the abandoned factory. Arturo asks a boss named Pike to urgently watch the videotape, but Pike first demands an explanation as to why the whole film crew is there. For disobedience, he slaps Arturo, but soon he softens, takes the camera and demands to close the hostages. Meanwhile, Rick and Jamie arrive at a beach in a deserted part of the island. They frolic merrily in the waves. Jamie is no longer mad at the guy. Rick goes to relieve himself in the bushes and hears a terrible growl. A snake crawls up to Rick and swallows him. Jamie calls the guy and can't figure out where he's gone. After watching the footage, Pike begins to believe in the existence of the huge snake. He takes out a snake egg from the professor's bag and examines it carefully. His girlfriend Talia suggests calling this monster a Anaconda, because it has something from piranha and anaconda. Arturo asks the boss to get rid of the egg before the Anaconda crawls after it, and then gather everyone and drive away from this place. But Pike thinks he can get a lot of money for the egg, so he decides to keep the egg and stick to the original ransom plan. Jack and Gunnar meet on the track next to the car. The car won't start. Then Jack proposes to follow in the footsteps of the kidnappers and save the hostages. Gunnar takes the explosives and the friends hit the road. In the basement of the factory, Rose bandages Milo's wound and asks the professor what brought him to the island. Lovegrow says that 50 years ago, his father was sent to scout the jungle for work. None of his group returned. After that, people still disappeared on the island. Then it suddenly stopped. But 2 weeks ago, a group of tourists disappeared. Now the professor was convinced with his own eyes that a monster lives in the river. Arturo descends into the basement. He orders everyone but the professor to go upstairs. Arturo then hands Kimmy today's newspaper, which shows the date. Pike puts on a mask and records a video for the film studio, with the hostages standing in the background. He is demanding a ransom of $3 million. In case of disobedience, he promises to send the hostages' heads to the studio one by one. He gives them 24 hours to think. Rose asks the bandits to give Milo medical attention. After they refuse, she asks to go to the bathroom. Arturo goes with Rose to keep her from running away. Soon the girl admits that she does not need to go to the toilet. She offers to have fun with Arturo in exchange for his promise that no one else will get hurt. During the kiss, she punches Arturo in the groin and runs away. Arturo asks another bandit to find and return the girl to the factory. He puts on a mask, takes a cleaver and starts chasing. Rose quickly runs into the jungle, avoiding obstacles, but the pursuer does not give up. Rose stumbles in the mud, falls and realizes that she has fallen into a nest of Anaconda, where there are many eggs. The girl picks up an egg and immediately gets dirty in the mucus. The masked bandit runs up to the nest and swings his cleaver at Rose. At this moment, the Anaconda crawls over. It swallows the man and growls at Rose. The girl quickly jumps up and runs away. At the factory, Pike chastises Arturo for letting Rose escape. But the lectures don't last long, because Rose returns to the bandits in horror and asks to save her from the Anaconda. Arturo grabs her by the hair and leads her to the rest of the hostages. Meanwhile, Jack and Gunnar run up to the factory. Through binoculars, Jack sees Arturo dragging Rose by her hair. The guys understand that they need to save their friends, but they have no plan of action. In the basement of the factory, Rose tells her friends about the giant snake and the man that was eaten. Lovegrow says that this snake is the most dangerous predator that has ever lived on Earth. It has overdeveloped all the senses. Anacondas have learned to hibernate so that people do not find them. They crawl out only occasionally to eat and lay eggs. Jack and Gunnar begin to act. Jack manages to twist the neck of one of the bandits and take away his gun. Gunnar then spreads explosives throughout the factory, while Jack goes to the basement. Along the way, he deals with several kidnappers. Pike and his entourage hear the sounds of gunshots and go to investigate. Jack sneaks into the basement. Rose immediately happily throws herself on his neck. The friends almost make it to the car where Gunnar is waiting for them, but gunshots are heard. Due to the injured leg, Milo cannot run, so he decides to cover the retreat of his friends. Bandits fire on the fugitives from the factory. But, thanks to Milo's cover, The friends manage to get into the car. At this moment, everyone hears a terrible roar and sees an angry Anaconda. It attacks Talia and swallows her. Gunnar immediately blows up the factory. Someone's bullet hits Gunnar, and the guy falls to the ground. The fog from the explosion clears and the friends see that the Anaconda has survived. Jack quickly gets behind the wheel and takes his friends away from the factory. The snake goes after the car, followed by Pike on a quad bike. Anaconda relentlessly pursues the car and even overtakes it. The snake lies down in the middle of the road and Jack has to stop the car. Behind him, he spots Pike. Pike takes a grenade launcher and aims at the car. But Jack manages to drive up to the Anaconda, so the projectile hits the monster's head. It suffers from wounds. Then a second Anaconda crawls up to it. It finishes off the wounded sibling. Jack manages to drive even further, and the tank of the car runs out of gas. Lovegroff proposes to go down to the river and look for a boat at the pier, on which they can get to civilization. Friends understand that in the jungle they can become victims of the second snake, but the bandits will definitely find them by the road. Therefore, the company still goes to the jungle. Pike returns to Arturo and tells him to find the escaped captives. Arturo tries to refuse, but Pike wants to avenge Talia. Milo goes to the jungle. Because of the injury, it is difficult for him to move around, but still he comes to the beach, where Jamie is sitting. Milo tries to convince the girl that her boyfriend was probably eaten by a Anaconda. Jamie thinks Milo is crazy and runs off into the jungle. The man follows her. Jamie finds the Anaconda nest. Milo asks her to get out of there so as not to become a victim of a huge snake. But a distraught Jamie grabs a stick and smashes all the snake eggs. The Anaconda senses this, immediately crawls up to the nest and swallows first Milo and then Jamie. A team led by Jack finds a boat at the pier. Suddenly, Rose notices a Anaconda egg in the professor's bag. Now everyone understands why the snake was chasing the car. She smelled her egg. Jack is sure that the egg should not get into the civilized world. He decides to take the egg back to the car and blow it up with Gunnar's pyrotechnics. The rest follow him. Jack wants to lure the snake to the egg and end the monster and its baby in one fell swoop. Watching his actions, Rose realizes that Jack really cares about her. She thanks the guy for saving her. Suddenly, a bullet hits Jack in the shoulder. The bandits manage to find the car, and now Pike is threatening the friends with a gun. At this moment, a Anaconda crawls up to the car. The bandits immediately shoot at it, but it is useless. The snake ate them all. Taking advantage of the commotion, the professor takes the egg and goes into the jungle. Kimmy runs to the car to retrieve the detonator, but the monster overtakes her as well. Rose and Jack hide in the bushes. Jack decides to head back to the car and blow up the snake as planned. After that, he promises to come to Rose on a quad bike. The girl runs back to the boat. Lovegrow is already there. Rose and the professor swim away from the scary place. But the snake is chasing them, because the egg is still in Lovegrow's bag. Rose discovers it and takes it for herself. A fight breaks out between the girl and the professor, during which the egg falls overboard. Lovegrow tries to get it, but Rose pushes the professor into the river. The girl then takes the egg and swims away. Anaconda overtakes the professor and quickly deals with him. Rose meets with Jack, who managed to retrieve the explosives. The couple goes to the waterfall. They wait for the Anaconda to appear, put explosives directly into the container with the egg, and throw it into the snake's mouth. Jack and Rose then jump into the water and activate the detonator. The head of the Anaconda explodes. The snake falls into the water. Jack and Rose come out of the river. Happy lovers agree on a second date and merge into a kiss. Suddenly a Anaconda crawls past them.